All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cody Tucker Show. As always, I'm your host, Cody Tucker. Happy Halloween, hail Satan, all that good stuff. I look, I am a massive fan of Halloween. It is one of my. This is like when Halloween starts coming in. I know that it's like getting to my favorite time of year, which October to December. Like those 3 months, October, November, December, that's my favorite time of year. As a fat sumbitch, I sweat a lot. And for it to finally get a little nice outside, you get that little fucking brisk wind hitting your pecker. Like it is, the winter's a nice time. Fall, winter, all that shit. So I really get into it whenever Halloween comes around because I'm like, all right, finally, it's not going to be goddamn 100 degrees outside. I can, wear a hoodie to try to hide, some of my fat. Like, it's a great, great time of year. Like, I love Halloween so much, I gave up fucking religion over Halloween. And I'm being completely serious. So, whenever I was a kid, I went to this church, it was like this non-denominational church, which still don't really know what the hell that means. But, because, it's non-denominational, which means that it isn't a denomination. So what the fuck is a denomination? I think that means like Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, like those are denominations. So if you're a non-denominational church, that means you are not those. But by saying that and calling it a non-denominational church, isn't that making it a denomination? God, I'm going to have a fucking nosebleed. But anyways, so this non-denominational church that I went to until I was about 8 or 9, I think. But yeah, I say 8 years old. That's whenever I stopped going. They used to do this thing like I think the last Sunday of every month called Clown Sunday. And right there, that's a red flag. So what they would do is the last Sunday of every month, I'm pretty sure it was the last Sunday of every month, while everybody's kind of sitting in that main like auditorium, like talking or whatever, they kind of like start off with like a few little like prayers and bullshit and then start playing this like gay ass Christian rock. After that happens, all the Sunday school teachers would come out and they're dressed up like clowns, like goddamn John Wayne Gacy. And they would just come out and like take all the kids and, like walk over to whatever aisle you're in. It's like me and my little brother, who was like 6 at the time, we'd be sitting there with my grandparents. And, this fucking clown would show up and go, "Oh, come with me." And be like, "Oh, fuck." And I'm like holding his hand like, dude, I'm your brother and I'm supposed to look out for you. But these fuckers start getting handsy. Like, you're on your own, dude. Just, squeeze them little ass cheeks as tight as possible. Like, don't give them an inch, man. And I remember, like, we'd go in there, and then, all these clowns are bringing all these kids into a room. And then they would just do, like, the normal Sunday school shit. But it was so, as a kid, I don't know that I was really, like, as weirded out about that as I am now. Like, now looking back at it, I'm like, who in the fuck? It goes back to a fucking theme, a constant theme of this show is that I should be in charge of, or not in charge, but I should definitely be the person that is handed an idea and told, and like I give them back a yes or no. Like, yeah, do this, or fuck no. Like, hide the fact that this was ever even a thought of yours. And if someone at a church told me, "Hey, we are going to round up all the kids and bring them into a room," I would already be slightly hesitant. Then if they added, "Oh yeah, by the way, when we do this, we're going to be dressed up like a fucking clown," I'd be like, I would burn the piece of paper in front of them. And just what the fuck? It's such a weird thing to do. But they brought us into this room. And I remember all the kids are sitting in there, and by the way, this is the Sunday before Halloween. So all of us kids are like super fucking pumped and talking about like what our Halloween costumes are gonna be. I mean, of course, I'm going in blackface, as always. Um, just like the Prime Minister of Canada. So we're just sitting there talking about Halloween and stuff, and then out of nowhere, lights just shut off. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, this is it. Like, goddamn, like, I knew it. I knew my fucking rape radar was going off the whole time, and now it's dark in here. Something's getting inside of something. And then, so we're all sitting in there, and there's this little stage in front, and a little light goes out on the stage, and they show these two kids, like kind of older kids, are in Halloween costumes, and they're saying, "We're so excited for Halloween!" Like, go through all this, this little skit, and they're trick or treating, and we're all sitting there like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, this is gonna be us tonight," or like this is us like tonight, and then lights go out again, and then this like red spotlight turns on, and then this like fucking no shit, like Gorgoroth fucking hardcore death metal starts playing. Which, I mean, I don't know if it's in my 8-year-old mind, it was hardcore death metal. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then a kid, I mean, an older kid is dressed up like the devil, comes running out from behind us and jumps up on the stage right into this red spotlight. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest day of my life. Like, if I knew the church was going to be like this, I mean, I'd be the most fucking Bible thumping Christian ever. Like they're playing death metal, have a kid dressed up like the devil. I mean, and then like had also in the background those like streamers that look like fire and like lightning sound effects and stuff. Like, this is so fucking badass. Like, I was like, this is the raddest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm looking at my brother, I'm like, dude, can you believe this shit? Like, and all the other kids are goddamn pissing themselves, like terrified. I'm like, oh, y'all are a bunch of fucking pussies. Like, this is like the greatest day of my life. And then they go into this huge fucking thing about how Halloween is the devil's holiday, and you shouldn't even be dressing up for Halloween, and you damn sure shouldn't be trick-or-treating, because trick-or-treating is a way of celebrating this holiday. Ergo, you were celebrating the devil. Like, Jesus doesn't want you to celebrate Halloween. I'm like, God damn, Jesus is a fucking buzzkill. Like, that's really all I got out of church, was that, like, Jesus didn't want to have fun at all. Like, he was super anti-fun. And yeah, they're telling us, like, if your parents, like, you need to go home and tell your parents, like, that you do not want to go trick-or-treating tonight. Like, you can't do it. It's like Jesus, like, God does not want you to do this. And I just remember being like, that's it. Like, I've fucking had it. I mean, I've been putting up with this bullshit since I was a little. I'm 8 years old, and I'm thinking, like, I've been putting up with this shit for years. Just like, I'm sitting through these boring ass church services, listening to this like super fucking like flaming ass like Christian rock. This like, goddamn, it's basically like listening to like Loggins and Messina for 2 hours. And, and just watching people getting, like, so into it. And I'm just sitting there, like, I'm not feeling a goddamn thing. Like, I don't feel any of this. Like, I haven't felt God's love at all. And I'm over here looking at these, like, adults and kids who have their hands raised up. And they're just, like, fucking, like, you could tell there's something going on inside of them that is, like, I mean, it is, like, laying into them. And they're, like, stomping their feet and, like, they're fucking crying, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, these are a bunch of fucking dorks. Like, everyone in this building is fucking retarded, and they tell us like these stories about like a flood and like, a dude living in a fish's stomach. Like, what the fuck? Like, even as an 8-year-old, I was like, that doesn't fucking check out. And yeah, I was not into it at all. And that really just settled it. Where I was like, oh, y'all are not about to do this. Like, you're already taking away my Sunday, which, you know, as a kid, you got Saturday and Sunday to have fun. And y'all are ruining one of those days for me. Fuck no. And so I remember going home afterwards, like my grandparents dropping us back off at my house and telling my parents, like, hey, I'm not doing this bullshit anymore. I was like, I've had it. I mean, it's funny to think about because I was goddamn 8 years old and I must have sounded like a real piece of shit to be like, hey, I ain't into this church shit anymore. Like, they're telling us not to go trick-or-treating. And my parents were just like, oh, yeah, that's fine. You don't got to go anymore. I mean, why do you think we don't go? Because it's all a bunch of bullshit. I was like, oh, all right. So, never went back. Ever. Like, I mean, I went to church, I think, total, probably twice in my entire life after that. And it was like whenever I was like 14, and I was like, oh, maybe I should try to get back into this. Like, and then that, you know, it took probably about 15 minutes into each time where I was like, no. And I was really just doing it to hang out with friends. But then I realized, like, oh, yeah, I got to, like, sit through fucking Christian rock again. Which, goddamn, is there anything worse than Christian? Like, Christian rock, A, is an oxymoron. But 2, is just so I remember goddamn, I forgot about this. I remember going to at one of those 2 times, going to this, you know, like what they do on Wednesdays, like teen church bullshit or whatever they call it, youth group. I remember going to the youth group, and you know, none of these kids listen to like rock music. Like, I mean, I've known these kids my whole life. The only music they listen to is either pop, like whatever is like popular, or Christian music. Mostly just Christian music. And the guitarist in the band at this church is playing the fucking guitar part from Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And I was sitting there, I was like, dude, you're fucking stealing this shit. But, I mean, nobody believed me because I was telling people, I was like, hey, like, this motherfucker is just ripping off. Like, the song itself really was just ripping off AC, and he's playing it, like, exactly. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, all right, I'm out of this. Like, nah, this place can go to hell. Yeah, just not a good time. So, that's that. I've been a massive fan of Halloween since I was a little kid. I mean, goddamn, what better holiday? I mean, Christmas is number one, because, you know, deep in my heart, I am a little pussy. So, I mean, I'm a sucker for, like, you know, anything Christmas related. But Halloween is right up there. And, I mean, just to be able to go out and dress up and trick or treat and get free candy, I mean, goddamn, like, is the greatest thing ever invented. And I don't give a fuck if you're celebrating some pagan goat god. Fine. Dude, if that motherfucker promises you candy, then maybe that's who I should be going to a church for. Because, I mean, they're not giving you shit at church except, you know, like a fucking mint. Like hell no. Or, you know, every so often, like, you go up to drink or eat a bite of a cracker and take a sip of fucking Mad Dog. I mean, goddamn, like, church is so stupid. But yeah, man, Halloween is so fucking awesome. Even, like, the shitty Halloween candy. Like, I know that, okay, I mean, you know, I'm still pretty young, 28, but enough time has gone by in my life to where I know that candy corn is fucking disgusting. But I don't have enough wisdom to not buy it every single year. I don't know why I do it, but I buy candy corn every year because in my mind, it's going to taste amazing. And then I eat 2 pieces. I'm like, I'm going to fucking throw up. I don't know what, like, I trick my own brain, or my brain tricks me. Or my brain is me. But I trick myself into buying candy corn every single year. And I eat 2 pieces and throw the rest of it away. So somewhere there's just a landfill of 60 pounds of candy corn that has been put there by me and my ignorance. I mean, goddamn, candy corn is nasty. I remember when I was a kid, I actually really did like it. Uh, like, I remember one time whenever I was a kid, like, I mean, I used to eat candy corn all the time. Like, I ate candy corn so much as a kid, like, it looked like I had jaundice. My parents were like, "Hey, we got to go lay you out in the sun for 2 or 3 days." It's like this kid's looking fucking Asian. But yeah, I mean, it is like where the fuck is like where do they even make? How do they make candy corn? It's like that shit is scraped off of the walls in Chernobyl. Like it is. There's no way that this is like. I mean, goddamn. I don't care. I fucking love it. Candy corn's amazing. See, goddamn, I'm tricking myself again. It's not amazing. It's fucking gross. Oh no. But yeah, I just love it. Now, one candy that is the most disgusting candy on the planet to me, and I don't trick myself into it, are fucking Tootsie Rolls. And for some goddamn reason, probably because they're about 3 cents a piece, but it seemed like every time I went trick-or-treating, a good 30% of my loot was made up of Tootsie Rolls. Like, God, man, like, and for some reason it seemed like everybody else got all the good shit, and then whenever I would dump mine out, I'm like, hey, it's a bunch of fucking Tootsie Rolls. Oh my God, Tootsie Rolls are so goddamn gross. And, yeah, and that's one that my brain has wired itself to be like, nah, like I won't even trick myself into even eating another one. So, guess I can't be too upset with myself. Trick-or-treating is amazing, though. I will say it pisses me off whenever people do the whole, like, we don't want to actually interact with these children, so we're just going to leave a bucket of candy out by the door and let them just fend for themselves. Like, what the fuck do you have going on? Like, we know you're home. And, I mean, you can't just, like, say, oh, like, your costume looks great. Like, who are you? Like, oh, like, and hand out some fucking candy. Like, God damn, you. Like, whenever I'm a grown up, I'm going to do that. I mean, it's amazing, but like, it is an interesting kind of social experiment to leave the candy out by the door, because it is the greatest way to find out whether a kid is going to be a Democrat or a Republican, for sure, because there's basically 2 mindsets going up to that door and seeing that bowl of candy. One is, I mean, they both actually come from the same place. And that is, there is not enough candy for everyone. If we just have this bucket of candy that anyone can come get, it's going to get all taken. So, one mindset is, because there's not enough candy for everyone, we need to, like, be very, like, frugal about this and share. And if you're a person of color, you get extra candy. That's the Democrat. If you are the kid who runs up there and says, oh no, there's not enough candy for everyone, and just takes as much as you can while, pushing down the black kid and, like, grabbing the girl dressed like Elsa by the pussy, like, you're probably going to be a Republican. That is exactly how this works. I mean, it's the greatest social experiment ever. But goddamn, is it frustrating. Like, it is so frustrating to see that. You're like, man, you son of a bitch. Like, you can't just sit out there and, like, let them ring your doorbell. Because that's part of the fun, is, like, to see an adult say, oh, your costume looks awesome. Like, dude, that feels so fucking awesome. Like, when you're a kid, to have a grown-up compliment, like, your costume. Never happened to me. But, I'm sure it would have felt great. Dude, every year I was dressed up like a goddamn pumpkin. Like, I think my parents were just like, okay, he's fat. That's probably not changing anytime soon. We could just go buy some orange spray paint and some green spray paint. Spray paint that some bitch orange. Spray paint his hair green. Draw a little black, smile across his face, and, we spent $6 on a Halloween costume. And so I was a pumpkin for years. Oh, God. I'll tell you what, growing up in a trailer park, and that's one thing about growing up in a trailer park, like, we would basically get bussed to another neighborhood to go trick-or-treating, because you're not fucking trick-or-treating in this meth dungeon. Granted, the neighborhood I grew up in was actually probably the most Halloweenish neighborhood ever. There was no bullshit, let's say maybe 400 yards away from my house, like down the street in the neighborhood, an actual pet cemetery. And I swear to God, I'm not making that up. There was an actual pet cemetery in our neighborhood. And, basically, if you just get enough meth addicts together, a Stephen King story will unfold in real time. There was a dude who drove a hearse. God damn. There was a dude also in my neighborhood that drove a hearse as like his, daily vehicle. And I remember my parents saying, like, do not ever talk to him. Like, if he drives by and y'all are outside playing and he stops, don't fucking talk to him. And I was always like, yeah, no shit. He's a dude driving a hearse. Like, I'm young and stupid, but I'm not that fucking dumb. But I just thought them in because, like, really, they just told us not to talk to any of the adults in this neighborhood because they're all fucking meth addicts. But I never really got, like, why they singled out that guy over any of the other adults. Until a couple of years later, whenever I was like, maybe 11 or 12, that guy got arrested. And it turns out that he had murdered, like, a shitload of kids. And he was just driving around our neighborhood in a hearse. In a fucking hearse. Like, why would you not try to be a little bit more conspicuous? Like, if you're a murderer, why would you buy a car that is most associated with death? But yeah, he murdered, like, a lot of fucking kids. And he was just cruising around the neighborhood. And I remember seeing him, like, talking to kids. Like, he would be, like, further down the street, stopped on the road in that hearse. And there'd be, like, kids standing by the hearse and him, talking to him out his window. And, I don't know anyone who got killed by this dude. But he killed some people. And, there were so many kids in that goddamn trailer park that, and I think I was probably lucky because I was, like, trailer park adjacent. So, like, there's, like, in this whole big area of single and double wides, there's, like, one or two streets, off of it that are not as trailer parky. And I was lucky enough to grow up in one of those. But those kids that were in the shit, they were just like, ripe apples. Just waiting to get picked by that sumbitch. But yeah, crazy shit. So an actual pet cemetery, a guy driving a hearse who kidnapped and killed kids, and just an endless amount of literal zombies. What meth addiction does to people is turns them into a zombie. So, like, every morning or like day, whenever I'd sit on my porch, you just see like 4 or 5 like people just stammering down the street, skin just like eroding, like drooling, just glazed over, like fucking Shaun of the Dead. So, I grew up in basically in a haunted house. Yeah. So, yeah, there was no trick-or-treating in that fucking neighborhood. Like, my parents were like, hell no. We're going to take your ass over to these, like, rich people's houses and, you're going to get some good shit. I'm glad they did. Holy fuck, I wouldn't be here. I would have been I would have been raped so many times. Like, I mean, I had a damn C cup at 8 years old, so I mean, I would have been the perfect person for this sumbitch to. No, well, anyways, dodged a bullet there, I guess. Yeah, but still, Halloween, fucking amazing. I mean, it's always. I remember also like my parents always like, we need to look in your bucket first, because there was just. I mean, I don't even know if it's still a rumor or like a thing that parents worry about, but I know it was when I was a kid. Was like, people are gonna like poison your candy, which I mean, who the fuck is just poisoning random kids' candy? Like, there's no way that ever happened. Which actually, I think I have read about that, and the time that it did happen, which was like once, it was a family member who poisoned like his nephew or niece's candy. So it wasn't like a stranger just handing out candy being like, enjoy the fucking Snickers, bitch. I mean, there's nobody poisoning candy. But I remember they would, like, distinctly remember them. I mean, all right, before you even fucking think about eating this candy, dump it out, like, for inspection. Like, we were in fucking Cool Hand Luke. They're like, dump it out. And I mean, because every once in a while there'd be a piece that was already open, and like, I mean, they would turn into like, like the damn CDC, like just get the fuck down and like throw this fucking piece in the incinerator. I'm like, God damn, they were just trying to make it easier for me. They were just trying to speed up my process here. Like, if anything, give them a thank you for unwrapping my candy for me. But yeah, Halloween's great though. Gotta be real careful with your costumes, though. Holy fuck, that's a thing that has gotten super out of hand. Is like what you can or cannot be for Halloween, because you're gonna be appropriating a culture. Which, look, I mean, I kind of get it if you're an adult. Like if you're an adult showing up for like a Halloween costume party. I mean, there's something kind of weird about this. As much as I love Halloween, I have kind of like grown out of the whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to go dress up and hang out with other adults. Because it's only fun for like the first 10 minutes. And then you're just like, oh, now I got to wear this fucking. Which the last time I did it, I dressed up like Kurt Cobain. And I had a bunch of fake blood on the back of my wig. And really, you're just sitting there like, oh. So now I'm just a guy with a real fucking itchy blonde wig on that has fake blood dripping off the back of it, and everywhere I sit I'm now leaving a blood stain. I mean, it is not like an enjoyable night, but if it's like a little kid who's wanting to be like, hey, like, mommy, I want to dress up like, fucking Sitting Bull for Halloween, I mean, buy the fucker an Indian costume. It ain't that big of a, like, this kid's not appropriating a fucking culture. Like, he's goddamn 8, and I mean, he just wants to go up to people's door and go, how? But yeah, I mean, shit, if you're gonna piss, look at fucking Trudeau, that sumbitch went full blackface. Now that's a little extreme, which I do remember seeing some kids in blackface when we would go trick or treating. I mean, I don't know if they were trying to like dressing up like Malcolm X or something, but there would definitely be some kids in blackface, which, growing up in a city that's 93% Caucasian, I mean, it's really inevitable that somebody's going to be in blackface at some point in their life. I'm just glad I dodged that bullet. I was an orange face. Which, I mean, I'm sure they were using fucking regular spray paint, too. Like, there's no way that I didn't just have, like, chemicals seeping into my brain. Like Jimi Hendrix with, like, the acid tabs. But, yeah. Guess there's no signs of that. Yeah, man. Halloween. Funnest time of year. Be safe. Oh, fucking, I remember bobbing for apples. So I remember going to this one thing with my cousins called, like, Gowanus or Gowanus or some fucking church thing. But they did, like, which is crazy because, like, my bullshit church was like, fuck no. No Halloween, no trick-or-treat, nothing. These lucky bastards got to go to a church that was like, oh no, we're going to do a whole night dedicated to Halloween. Like, why can't I go to that damn church? Like, I'd probably be a hardcore Christian now. I'd be standing outside of, an abortion clinic. Like, you fucking whore. But they did like a full thing, but I remember they had bobbing for apples. That's the only time I've ever seen bobbing for apples in person. Which in my mind, now that I think about it, like, that's the most disgusting fucking thing ever. Like, I mean, you were just the amount of spit. I mean, by the time that 15 little kids have bobbed for apples, that tank is like half saliva. Fuck. It's like sticking your head in a fucking jar of heated up KY jelly. So, yeah, well, that's that. I guess I'll leave it on that note. Have fun. Be safe. Don't poison people's candy. Don't fucking give them weed gummies either. That is a thing. So that is like today's version of that is people who are like giving kids like THC gummies and shit like that. Like, hey, I mean, here in Texas, obviously we can't buy shit like that, but like, I know it's pretty expensive. If you have enough disposable income to where you can just hand out fucking weed gummies, I mean, more power to you, but, don't be a dick. I mean, just be like a normal person and feed them to an animal and watch them freak the fuck out. Don't do that either. And don't dress up like Jeffrey Dahmer. That's the thing that's going on, now, which, apparently Jeffrey Dahmer was racist. I mean, the most I have taken away from this whole Jeffrey Dahmer documentary is that the worst part about him is that he was racist. Like, they're like, yeah, I mean, he ate people, killed them, fucked their dead bodies and stuff. But, but also, more importantly, they were all black. I was like, yeah, I mean, I think this motherfucker had a laundry list of problems. Being, having a little taste, a liking for the taste of brown sugar might be the least of his worries. But, yeah, so with that, goodbye.